This is a Big Buggy 14 from Modern Buggy Trailers, and it is a really fun trailer to maybe do some weekends or maybe even more extended travel. And I think of it as a nice, small, nimble couples trailer. Though, you know, if you needed to fit another body or two for a short amount of time, it would work for that. So let's get into the Big Buggy 14 from Modern Buggy. Well, hey everybody, this is a quick little run through of the Modern Buggy Big Buggy 14. Now you would say that's just about a 14-foot living space on this trailer, but it's, you know, actually with the tongue, it's a little over 16 foot long. We're gonna make sure that we have a lot of the specifications and weights in the video description below. But it's pretty towable. You can tell from the size and form factor that it's not that large, so it can get to some pretty tight spaces. And from a weight standpoint, it's going to be just a little over 2,000 pounds, so match or pair your tow vehicle appropriately and you should have a really nice time. It has great graphics on it. They've always done a great job of making these things look really good, and they have a great value proposition. As we get through it, you're going to see with the way they design the space and the materials and the equipment that it is indeed a nice little package for, like I said, maybe a couple to explore on the weekends or longer excursions and have just a nice, sweet time doing it. Now, they build these things to be rugged, but also to be configurable to you. Right now, I'm on a torsion axle, but there's an option to upgrade to a Timbren axle-less suspension. There are a few options on here and a few options that may not have made it onto this build. So we'll try to point out what we can. Make sure you look at the video description down below to see what they are. Take, for instance, this 8-foot awning with an LED light. It's an electric awning. That is an option. We do have it on this trailer. There's also an electric jack. We have it on this trailer. So make sure you check that video description down below to match up what we see and speak to, and what may also be a further option that you could get on one of these trailers. I've taken too much of your time outside. You kind of want to see the inside. Let's go do that right now. All right, let's check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this door, and very solid. Now you will notice right off the bat, I'm making contact here. In the cabin, you'll notice that this is 74 inches tall. So we're talking 6 foot 2 inches. At the air conditioner, it's just 6 foot tall. Well, I am in my shoes 77 inches tall, so you will see a slight stoop right here. So it's not that big a deal for the vast majority of people who use it. And honestly, I can still travel in this just knowing full well that most of the time when I'm traveling, I'm only standing to get from one place to the other. Sitting here, maybe to the bed, maybe to the bathroom, and the time when I'd be standing the most would be when I'm doing kitchen related things. So keep in mind, I'm not 7 foot 5. I'm 6 foot 5 in my shoes, and this trailer at its lowest point is 6 foot, and at its highest point in the main cabin is 6 foot 2. So adjust your perspective accordingly. This is a very nice dinette. It has a nice composite top on this table. Is it composite on the bottom? No, that is wood underneath, but there are no exposed edges right here for water to get in and cause expansion or anything like that. They do have the very common Lagun system, which allows you to position this table so easily, lock it into place. They have different locking points and handles, or you can slide this whole thing out, which is pretty handy because this becomes a bed as well if you needed to add a sleeping space for one or maybe two smallish humans. So the size of that bed is 78 inches long and I believe 39 inches across. So it's, you know, not too bad, pretty comfortable. From a comfort standpoint, these are pretty good cushions with very easy to maintain and wipe down cushions as well. I do like the space. I like the way they've done this. I think that this is kind of a mainstay for them, is to have this kind of cabin-like look on the inside. I don't know if that's the technical look of shiplap or not, but it's cabin-like. I like it. You do have a window here, and it does not open here. You have blinds. So there is some power here. Let's say you need to power a laptop or some other gizmo here while you're working or elsewhere. And so I'm going to go ahead and rotate this out of the way and see if you might be able to get a little bit better view. Maybe, maybe not. We'll roll in B-roll if we need to. But this is a residential style plug, which of course means that it is powered by shore power coming from outside the trailer or maybe a generator or something like that. There is no inverter on this trailer as it sits. Now that is an option that you totally could get and put on this trailer. We've seen people do it themselves, and we certainly have done a lot of that in our service shop. So any RV service center should be able to update your system with components like that. There's also a USB charging port here. Now that's 12 volt. So you have a USB-A and USB-C style, and being 12 volt, that can come straight off of the trailer's battery, so you can be disconnected. And the fact that there's solar on this trailer means that you might be able to run, depending on what climate you're camping in, very comfortably for quite a while without having to go through the standard park power system. Now you're going to find it's very clean, very open right here, fair bit of leg room. Again, the Lagun table, if you want to make this a bed, you do have to slide this pole out. You just loosen it here, slide this pole out, and then you use this top as the base. It goes across, and you pull your cushions across, and it makes that bed. Rather nice. Now, I do have switches for the cabin lights, but if I want to darken one of them at a time, I can just do that. So they're on a common circuit, but let's just say someone wants to be a little bit darker over there. Maybe they're on a conference call or something like that. They need more light or less light. I don't know. You can configure that specifically. Safety device here with the fire extinguisher. Make sure you keep up with that. Safety device there with the smoke alarm. We'll keep up with that. And on the ceiling is this really nice kind of low profile Dometic air conditioner, which can be directional or down. The controls are right here on it. Now this is a 13,500 BTU air conditioner. Makes a space like this very comfortable in even some rather warm conditions. Now, if you're in cold conditions, this has a 12,000 BTU furnace, and that will fill up this space very nicely as well. It's down, we'll show you later, it's closer to the refrigerator. But it's a nice situation. They do have R7 insulation in the walls and in the floor, and there's a composite substrate floor as well underneath. And then on the roof, this is a one-piece roof, fiberglass roof from the front tip to the back tip. So that's part of the construction. And it's all framed out in aluminum. So pretty cool. I'm going to come over here and we're going to look at some of these buttons on this wall right here. It's pretty quick because there's not much going on. Let's take a look. Okay, on the wall, I have a few switches and they're labeled pretty good, except for this one. I'll get to that. This is your awning. It is an electric awning, and it's obviously open, close. It works well. I'd had it out just a few minutes ago. And then this one is not labeled well, so we ran around flipping it to find out what it is. It happens to be that really beautiful light strip on the awning, that LED light strip. So this is where it is. I would like to have it to be one of those where when you flip it, it has a little LED light in it, so I don't have to look outside to know if it's on. But it still works well, and it's not that far to go. Okay. Here is your convenience panel, which will tell you the state of your gray tank, black tank, and fresh water right here. And again, I do have capacities written down below. So here you go. And then you have rear lights, and that's behind you, so you can't see them flipping on and off. Kitchen lights, that's above you. And porch light outside, bathroom light right there. And a water pump switch. And this is one of those lit switches that turns on so I can see that it is receiving power or not. So all good and well. That covers this space, and I'm standing right next to this bathroom, so we're going to see how I fit. Mind you, I'm rather large, but we're going to talk about the amenities there too. Let's go. It is a wet bath, and you'll see that I'm sitting down, and from a shoulder standpoint, I am wall to wall, but again, my frame is, my shoulders are more than 23 inches, so keep that in mind. I have significant leg room and I do have long legs, so this is not a problem. I can tell you that the seat height is just fine. Wet bath. I've used many trailers with wet baths, and this is not a problem to me. I just have to reach over here and grab this, and it's a shower system, and I can get clean standing, I can get clean sitting. It's just maybe not what we're used to in our homes, but it is useful. And let's just say maybe it pulls double duty. And this trailer has been winterized. Now I'm going to stand up in here. Mind you, it is 6 foot in here and I am 6'5" in my shoes, so I am going to make contact. It's not going to look comfortable for me. But 6'5" right here. There's a power fan in here and it can bring air in or draw air out. And there is, of course, a light right here. That's switched outside or in here. So you might find yourself, someone might use this and flip it off here, and then that switch is being a redundant switch might not actually be useful. So keep in mind there. I do like this curtain because it is easy to clean and it's very low profile, stays out of the way. But I'm going to step out of here and I'll be back later to clean up my mess. And let's go into the bedroom area and see what we can find there. Now I'm sitting on a bed that is 78 inches by 56 inches. You may notice that that's slightly smaller than your standard queen size bed. So for most people, it's going to fit quite nice. It's a nice feeling mattress. I will say there's not much in the way of underbed storage like you see in many RVs where you can lift up the mattress and see underneath. There is this little storage here, and I'm going to specifically cover storage in just a little bit, but we'll open that then. Other than that, you're not going to be lifting this up to see into a big cavernous space on this because there's outside access to storage underneath the bed here. I'm looking around. I see controls on this wall for that furnace. It's Dometic controls, and right next to it is Fogotti controls. Fogotti. That is for your water heater, and it is a tankless, I guess, tankless on-demand water heater made by Fogotti. A really neat unit. I do have a large window on this side, and it opens up awning style because it's also your emergency egress window. So very nice, plus an awning style window. If you have a little bit of precipitation coming down, an awning style window opening up like this keeps some of that keeps precipitation from coming in unless you have a strong enough breeze to blow that water sideways. It is what it is. It's comfortable. It's an open space. There's little pockets around that you can store gadgets and gizmos. On this side, you have a little ledge that you can work with. You have this television right here, and it's a 12-volt television, and that's nice because you don't have to be plugged into shore power to use it. That's cool. Another residential style plug here, and that is a GFCI protected outlet, so it protects all of the residential style outlets in here. And also another USB charging port station with a USB-A and USB-C style connection. That brings us to, I guess all we have left on the inside is the kitchen space and the storage that we'll find in this cabin. So let's go to the kitchen, talk about the appliances, and then we'll move on to the storage and we'll head outside. Let's do this. Okay, so we're at the kitchen and you'll notice again, standing straight up, I need to bend my neck or slouch, but I am a natural sloucher. I'm actually quite good at that. So when I'm cooking, this is not so bad because I'm usually operating just as you see me right here with about an inch above because this is my workspace. It's down here. So this isn't so bad in practice. Again, your mileage may vary, and I encourage you to get into a space like this and pretend like you're actually doing the thing to see how your body actually works in a space. This is a 2-burner stove, which is typically all I use when camping, as I was this past weekend. It is a nice amount of space, but if you cover it up, again, once the burners have adequately cooled down after use, then you can use this as some more prep space. It does have a light on here, which obviously, I mean, it's just a nice effect, I guess, but it also could operate as a night light for the whole space. A good sink. This is a stainless steel kind of brushed sink, and it is, I would say, about 10 inches deep, almost a foot across, and another 10 inches in depth this way. a little bit of a high mount faucet. It is the highest of mount and it doesn't have a wand, but it is functionally really all you need. A lighted vent fan right there. And that does it for the appliances here. But on this side, we do have a 12-volt Furrion refrigerator. Now, this is a great refrigerator for this size space. It does have an upper area for your, it's taped shut, an upper area for your freezer goods. Maybe you want to bring some frozen goods or little things of ice cream. And it works quite well. Down below that is the forced air furnace. And again, for this amount of space, 12,000 BTU is going to probably be overkill. So you're going to have to make sure you have that thermostat set right, because that could put a lot of heat into a small space quickly. Now below that, I'm going to sit on down. Below that, I have two other devices in here. One of them is a pretty standard converter box. Now that's going to have your 12-volt fuses for all the 12-volt circuits, but also it has the breakers for the 110, 120 shore power fuses or breakers. The nice thing that they did here is they put in a WFCO or WIFCO unit that auto detects the type of battery you're working with. So you can use a standard lead acid battery or an AGM battery, or if you upgrade, as I recommend and have done on my trailer, to a high quality lithium ion phosphate battery, or maybe one of the new solid state batteries that's just hitting the scene, that should detect what you're working with and safely charge that battery so you get many years of use. Now next to that is another device. Now this is a solar charge controller, and it is an R-Lux RV unit. What that is doing is this taking the charge from the solar panel that's mounted right about here, and it is managing that charge to, again, make sure that your batteries are getting the right amount of power the right way to keep it healthy. Too much power, that can be problematic. Too weak of a charge can also be problematic. You know, you have the idea of blackouts, but also the idea of brownouts. Brownouts are also bad for your equipment, anything with a circuit board. So that solar controller can help to maintain a good, solid, healthy charge going into your battery from solar, as long as there is solar power available from the sun. Before we go outside, one more look at storage, and then we'll move on. Above the refrigerator is a really deep space. It really is from here all the way to the wall. It's almost perfectly square. There's a little bit of curve right in this back area inside. And there are two outlets here. There are your residential style outlets. If you are going to bring a microwave of the appropriate size into this for your travels, perfectly fine. You'll plug it in there, mount it into this cabinet, and you would be good to go. Otherwise, the world's your oyster. Use it as you would like. I do have some cabinetry up here, and it also goes all the way to the wall, and it's kind of pass through. So I might bring in a little bit of shelving or something like that to organize it, but it's good. And these are nice hinges. I wouldn't say they're soft close, but they do want to close. And then just compression style catch. Works just fine. Down below in the sink area here, I do have this long, tall storage space underneath the sink. I would definitely be using this as storage space, but you are going to find some plumbing coming from the sink, and it is pretty prominent, and you'll see that in the B-roll, but it still is a lot of space to work with. You just might have to be creative on how it exactly fits your needs. You have 3 drawers here, and they are, well, they are of pretty good depth, a little over a foot in length, maybe closer to 2, a good 3 or 4 inches deep, and let's see here. No, still not soft close, but again, the catch is, the glides are beautiful. The glides are fantastic. And the catch is adequate. So there we go. All 3 of these, they appear to be the same size and good to go. And then right here next to the floor, one more down here that we briefly mentioned is this rather large pull-out drawer. So this is going to be your bigger items down here. Currently, we have your shore power cord, a sprayer, and a coiled hose for using your outside sprayer. So you have a few of the things that they pack this trailer with in here for now, but it is a good drawer. Right before we leave this space, let's see if there's anything underneath the cushions in the dinette. I went ahead to make this a little bit easier for us by removing the table, the Lagun table system, taking off the cushions from the seating and the backing to make sure that we can quickly get through this. Now there is really good storage under this dinette sitting closest to the door. It's easily 2 feet deep, maybe 2 feet across, not perfectly square, it's a little bit longer this way. Great, easy access, and of course you just lift this and get what you need. On the front of the trailer, however, this is an interesting space because it's obviously very long, but there's some framing in here, and the front of the trailer has a curve to it because it's kind of teardrop style. So the bottom here kind of comes in and narrows to a point down underneath. But really the only thing in here that I see, other than a little bit of framing, is some electrical lines at the very bottom if you need to have maintenance access to them. So other than that, you could feasibly turn this into some storage space. Is it the easiest place to get to? You know, it's not bad. It's not necessarily the easiest because you have to get some side cushions off in this back cushion, but you could. So maybe something that you're not going to be reaching for very often. On this other side, however, this is not what I would consider storage at all. And the reason is there is a water tank here and your water pump. I do like how accessible that is because if you need to troubleshoot a water pump, if you need to winterize, which is more likely that you'll be winterizing, you'll do that right here using this hose and that pump. Maybe you need to clean this little filter here. That's a good maintenance thing to do. So it's easy to access, but not a storage space. I can also see the back side of the water inlets that you will have access to on the outside of the trailer, right there against that wall. And I can also see the outlets for your spray port on the outside. So that is also very cool. While I'm looking at this, this is a 16-gallon freshwater tank. You also have a 32-gallon gray water tank and a 5-gallon black tank. We'll show you how those are filled up and let out on the outside. But that pretty much does it for the inside of this tour. And I think it's about time we go see what we can find on the outside. Let's go. We're on the outside now, and this is a pretty satisfying build. These walls, this door, it's all 1.5 inches thick, so it's a nice, dense filling wall. Now, this door does have a full screen, like you'll find on so many trailers, and we'll just kind of show you how that works. Pretty nice. This is a friction hinge, and I am in a fairly breezy scenario, so it can be blowed shut slowly, but it also has a magnetic catch. Pretty good. And let's go ahead and see what else we can find here. This step is made by Suburban. It's a very easy to deploy and put up step. It's pretty solid filling, but if you're on uneven terrain, you can adjust these legs out using these little adjustment areas right there. But if it's time to pack up and go, you don't have to spend a whole lot of time messing with it and fussing with it. You just click it into place like so, and you're pretty set. Now I'm going to look at the side. I do notice again that optional awning. This is an electric awning, and it has a beautiful LED light strip right there. And below it, you have this light on the outside. The primary switch for that light is on the inside, though there is a switch right here. Notice how it's not working. If you flip that switch to the on position on the inside, this will work, and then you might find yourself trying to figure out why it's not working. So, because it's a redundant switch, most of the time people are not going to be reaching up here, but someone might. So check between the switches if this is in the on and off position for you. There are incredibly capable wheels and tires on these units. They don't mess around. You have a 15-inch steel wheel, not just on the wheels on the ground, but also on the spare. The same tire on it as well. So bit of grip And people do wonder why you would want an off-road tire on a trailer. It's not putting power to the ground, if you will. I think of it this way. It does allow me to have a little bit more ground clearance because of the aspect ratio here. But also, if I'm on a lot of uneven terrain and it's a little bit loose or you know, made of mixed media, and I want some grip in case there's a chance the trailer might laterally slide a little bit, in my mind, it gives me a little bit more grip against lateral slide as well. And possibly in those situations, a little bit of grip whenever I'm trying to slow or stop, because this trailer does have electric brakes to help with stopping. So I like it. Granted, for me, my first notion is it looks cool. So probably the same for most. There are 14 inches of ground clearance at the lowest point on this trailer, so that's pretty handy. So 14 inches is pretty good, even from someone who's doing some off-roading. 14 inches is a good amount. Now, I wouldn't say that this is built for the most gnarly of off-roading. Obviously, if you own it, do with it what you will. But I would say for entry-level off-road and leaving the pavement to maybe some fire service roads, some forest service roads and things like that, maybe some of the lighter Jeep trails, this very well might make it. It's kind of small enough format, good ground clearance, and this torsion axle is a true independent side axle. Entry level, I might admit, but people get a lot of use out of torsion axles and have gone many places that you think they wouldn't. However, don't forget that there is an option to upgrade to a Timbren axle-less suspension, which is a little bit more robust and a little bit more capable, so you'll want to check that out. Let's head around to the tongue and see what we can find there. At the tongue of the trailer, it is a pretty basic tongue of the trailer, but I like it because it's clean and it's easy to understand. Here's your battery box. Your master battery shut-off switch is right there, and this is your propane tank. Now, it's a single 20-pound propane tank like you find for your gas grill or what have you. And this is another option. We have it on this trailer. You'll notice that there are a number of the options available we have on here. This is an electric jack. Obviously, it can be lit for working in dark circumstances and up and down. 2-inch ball on this guy. Pretty standard stuff, particularly for a trailer of this size. Still looks nice, has a rock guard, and a holder for your 7-pin plug. That's about it. Let's roll around here. On the driver's side of this trailer, again, when we were inside and we're looking underneath the dinette on the driver's side of the trailer, I said, you know, I could see the back end of these two things right here. This is your freshwater connection and your city water connection. Freshwater to fill that 16-gallon tank, or city water if you want to kind of bypass it and not use the onboard water pump, go straight to your fittings right here. Always use a water pressure regulator, because RV parks and national parks, state parks, whatever, you don't really know if it's overpressured or not. Protect yourself. Behind this door is your fitting for that outdoor spray port with access to hot and cold. So pretty handy. You might even set up a little shower room out here if you don't want to be traipsing in and out and you want to rinse off on the outside. You can see down here, there's a low point drain to drain all of the water lines in the whole system. If you're going to be setting up for storage for any amount of time whatsoever, I highly recommend get as much water out of your system as possible. And this is how to drain the lowest point in the whole system. Your fresh water drain coming right off of that 16-gallon tank in here, right there. And as I back up a little bit, this is your sewer outlet connection. That'd be black water and gray water holding tank outlet. Remember, that is 32 gallons, so 5 gallons, 32 gallons. And they come out of a common fitting here with a bayonet style fitting in the middle. These are blade style, and we have videos on how to handle your tank situation. Easy to do. That does it for here. Again, those wonderful wheels, the backside of your furnace, the inlet for that 30 amp shore cord. Now, this is my portable power box I use here at work to light things up whenever we just come out here quickly. You do have, and it's provided with the trailer, a true heavy duty 30 amp power cord. It's still packaged up on the inside. And this is the back end of that Fogotti water heater system. So let's see if I can open this. And look, there it is, a little pop-off valve and whatnot. This is a beautifully easy looking system with the on and off switch there, controls on the inside, so on here, and then control it on the inside, fuse if you need it. I mean, it's just kind of a no-brainer system, and fast hot water. So really like that. Latches in place nicely. We're gonna come around the back now. Now the back end of this trailer still looks nice with their graphics, and you will see that, again, there's an option on this particular trailer on our lot that it has a solar panel on the back here. I don't know that it is in the most optimal place on this trailer. I think I would put it up a little bit. This is a little bit on the back, but they got you, because on the inside, this is a lockable bay. On the inside of this lockable bay is this little secret here. If you get the solar package, you also get a suitcase style solar panel that you can deploy in the sun wherever you want to. And I did fail to mention where it plugs in. Right beside the back end of the water heater on that side there is an SAE style plug that this goes into, and it'll start to feed that battery directly off of these solar panels. It'll even bypass that solar controller in the inside, because these panels have a built-in solar controller to keep your battery safe. Other than that, this is a very nice area. You have a lot of space in here. I would say easily 3 feet deep to this portion, but it goes even further on the other side. We'll make sure to roll in some B-roll so you can see how that looks. And you have a few crank options here for your stability jacks and your awning, should you need a backup way to get it in or out. And it is lighted in here. So there you go. It's pretty handy. And while we're here, you can see it doesn't have a hold open. Not that big a deal, but something to be aware of. While we're here, you do have this accessory hitch area right here. This is not for towing something else. It's not designed for double towing, but you can easily put a bike rack back here, or maybe an accessory tray to bring a few more items along. And you do have these really nice scissor style jacks, and they're stability jacks, not leveling jacks, on both sides here. They work quite well, and that largely does it. Let's go around the side and finish this up. So that's it. This is the ModBug Big Buggy 14. And again, you can see the size of it. I'm 6'5" in my shoes. That is at the upper end of most people we talk to. There are people taller than me, but most of the average size will find this a very comfortable space to be in, particularly if you're couples camping and enjoying just bopping around and finding some really cool places to explore and check out. Weekends, week-long trips, what have you. It is well built. There are a lot of options you see on this model, and you're going to want to check the video description down below for the options that are available, but also for the specs and the details that come on these modern buggy trailers. I like them a lot. I think that there is a place in the world for fun, really good-looking trailers that can indeed go to some maybe tighter spaces, or get through some tighter spaces to end up in a very expansive space that most people can't get to. So there it is. ModBug trailers, they're cool. The Big Buggy 14 is amongst the lineup that I think is pretty neat. If you would like to see it in person, we carry them at Princess Craft RV in Round Rock, Texas, and we invite you to check them out for yourself. It's been a pleasure showing it to you, and I'll see you next time.